Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Rob W., Open-Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, NA Literalist, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H., The Real Gabster, Windrider, Liam Nedrick, Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, Kirsten Smith, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Also, below this video, there is a link to get £50 back for switching your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. With that, I'm going to hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
Right,
if you're in the
slushy.
woods, you're going to stick out.
Yeah, I remember walking through woods with snow, fresh prints everywhere you go.
There's a lot of snow where
And the
you are,
crunching.
Regis?
Where I am, yeah, it snowed a decent amount, not too much, but yeah, it snowed a decent amount.
I saw Neil's pictures. He got hammered.
Yeah, let me check.
Excellent word to use, hammered.
I lived in New England for a while, and the year I got there was after the blizzard. Can't remember what year that was, but 9 months later, there was a lot of babies.
Yeah, so when do you think we'll see the baby boom from when this pandemic started, or pandemic, whatever you want to call it?
9 months. 9 months later, but probably.
So
a
we should be
different
seeing it
month.
now.
Yeah, the start of it, but I think it'll get a bigger count of babies later.
So, Ted, man, you've been all over the place, huh?
Pretty much. Just haven't traveled Asia.
I only left the country once, and that's to go to Mexico.
I've done that many times since it's right here on the border.
Yeah, I've only been to, let me see, I've only been to Alabama, Texas, Mexico, and just on the way to Alabama, whatever states I drove through.
Tennessee, Florida, something like that.
Yeah, still in Florida for a little while back in the day.
I think I've been to about 36 states.
I know a pastor friend of mine. He used to walk. His goal was to walk across every state. I don't know how many he finally got up to, but he used to take his camper, drive, let's say 70, 80 miles, mark the spot. Then he would walk. How did he do it? No, he would stop his trailer at a spot. He would walk 80 miles, mark it, then walk back to his trailer and drive up to the next spot. So he was actually walking double. And he used to walk across states to raise money for shoes for kids in Mexico.
Was his name Forrest Gump?
No, his name was Rick Hagens. He preached in Times. He preached. He was the best man at my wedding, actually. He preached in Times Square Church, and he just recently had a tragedy. It's a shame. They were getting ready for his son's wedding, and I guess they were doing rehearsals. They ate and they all left just a couple of weeks ago, and the fiance of his son got into a bad car accident and died.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
How sad.
Devastating. Devastating.
Yeah, that would be.
But
So,
yeah, the mission trip with him to the Mardi Gras was my first one. We went, we preached in the French Quarter, and because he felt like everybody had a voice there, so he wanted a voice for Christ there. But there was a lot of church groups going to the Mardi Gras and preaching. You can imagine with all
Yeah.
that stuff going on there.
A lot of
And
people
then
that
the next one was Mexico. Then I went to Mexico with him.
What part of Mexico?
Reynosa, right off McAllen, Texas.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The only thing I remember is when I stepped out of the airport, it was summertime. I stepped right back in the airport. That's how hot I felt like I stepped into an oven. And he was in his car and he was laughing because he loves the reaction he gets from Northerners.
Yeah.
And he came in to get me. I was like, I ain't going out there. He was laughing. I said,
It's like the first time I got out of a airplane in Florida. It was so humid. You just say, "What the heck? Is this a sauna?"
yeah, Florida's different though, right? And Texas is like dry. Well, it was dry heat to me. I got out and I'm telling you, I stepped out and stepped right back in. And he
No,
was
that
laughing.
depends what
I said,
part of
"Listen,
Texas.
don't worry, every place is air conditioned." I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I hope so.
Yeah, different parts of Texas have different weather, but if you go there by the Gulf, it's going to be humid, like Houston, San Antonio, and then you've got the eastern, the western part, west north, I would say, northwest part. That's more dry. Yep. That's why I like California weather, because it's the drier weather. We get humidity maybe a month and a half, but not bad, hardly at all. Just maybe one day or a week of it that's like really bad, but not like Florida bad, just California bad. But you got the ocean an hour away and mountains an hour away. We get snow, we get everything. And 325 days or 320 days of sun, I think. I guess that's why there's 40 million people living here.
So, Rumpus, what a character, huh?
Well, he's always been a character. What's cool is Platzoid took that little bit of my presentation on how Sextant works, and he made a little cool video of it and posted it on his channel, and he's played it. Obviously, he sent me a link and put in Master B and all. But the ballers are going crazy.
Crazy how?
Yeah, they're going crazy. I ought to play that. It's you and me, actually, just talking. You have it. It's a Master B.
Have a look.
I don't know why they're going crazy. Just face reality. You're not in a spinning ball. That's it.
Okay, I think I found it. Is it just Flatzoid's last post?
Yes.
Background with the blue sphere. Two blue spheres,
But
two suns.
Well, one's a lamp showing divergent rays. The other one is just parallel rays.
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see, their model, the sun's rays have to come in parallel and it shows it coming in this picture, drawing, whatever. And then if you put a lamp next to the same sphere, it comes in divergent. Now we know that when you look at the sun's rays, it's always divergent. It's not coming parallel. So that destroys their globe right there, their globe model of measurement. Because if the sun doesn't have rays that are parallel, it doesn't it doesn't work for them, because they need to go to the center of the earth as well as to the surface of the earth. And when you see those arrows coming in, one say going to the center, one skimming the surface, it's going to have the same angle when they do their radius and they get their 90 degrees. But if the sun's rays come in at an angle, as you see with the lamp illustration, it doesn't work. Now, how do the sun rays come in? We've shown endless pictures of how the sun's rays come in. They come in at an angle. Now, the next picture should be a map with two circles.
Got
and
it.
It says GP of Rigel and
Got it.
GP of Alphard. Perfect. So, see where the two circles meet, and you got the dotted lines from the two stars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where the sailboat is, or where the person's using the sextant. The star is directly over that geographical position. One's over the ocean there, GP Alphard, and then, of course, GP of Rigel, geographical position that is there on that continent. Now, the sailboat's over there where the two circles meet. Now, if you're that guy taking this sextant reading, you're saying, okay, my position to Rigel is, for example, I'm going to make this up, 2,500 miles. So you got to draw a circle from where Rigel is, from its zenith position on Earth, because your air almanac's going to say where it is exactly over the Earth at its 12 noon position, basically. And you're somewhere in that circle on the left side, but you don't know what part, but you're still 2,500 miles away from your point of destination. So you grab another luminary and you do another measurement with the sextant, and the circles cross each other at 2 points. Since you know where you are based on your previous, you know you're at the upper circle where they meet. So now you have an exact position. So you're 2,500 miles from Rigel, you're say 1,200 miles from Alphard, and you go to the air almanac and you find your longitude, latitude, and you know exactly where you are in the middle of the ocean. That's how a sextant works. Now, a sextant could only work on a flat surface. It cannot work over a curved surface because you can't get an angle on a curved surface. And when Eratosthenes was looking at the shadows, now if we can go to the other pictures, I don't know which one's going to come up.
Got it. I'm tracking with you.
Okay, so you just go, I don't know what you're showing, but if you go to the other pictures, they're saying because of the shadow and sun rays coming parallel, that proves the circumference of the Earth. Well, wrong, because sun rays don't come in parallel and shadows are cast because you're at an angle to that sun or star's geographical position. So you're getting the angle to it from where you are, just like I described in the previous slide, 2,500 miles from it. Because if you get closer to it, the angle gets less and less. And if you're right under it, there is no shadow and there's no angle. You're under it, it's at your zenith. So that's how it works with a sextant. And a sextant has to work as a right angle protractor, because you got to have the 0 and the 90, and where they two meet, where you are, that's your corner, your vertex. You can't have the 0 line be curved, say on the curved surface of the Earth, and your zenith go to the center of the Earth. There's no way to get an angle. I mean, how much of an arc is there over 2,500 miles? How are you going to get an angle? It's over.
Good stuff.
Yeah, he put nice music to it.
Hopefully he doesn't get me a copyright strike.
Hopefully it was him strumming.
Doubt it.
I was gonna say, where's that music from? Like,
Probably not Flatsoid, so oh well.
Yeah, that's a hit. I've heard that all over the place, that music.
Great, that cheers me up.
Yeah, top 100 last week.
Oh, brilliant.
Too much, man.
No, it's been good. You're getting more and more concise. I've said it before and I'll say it again.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a very long presentation I've put together, and it got to the point where I either make 10 parts or 8 parts or 6 parts, and they're all going to be very long, each of those parts, or I just take bits and pieces and just come and do it little by little on your show when I'm able to do those. Like I got one just on the Sextant, how the tool itself and how it works. Then I've got it on other parts of the celestial navigation. I've got the videos where they're saying when you do the sextant readings, you have to assume the stars are turning and the Earth is motionless and still. I mean, they're actually saying that as they tell you how to use the sextant. I mean, can you? I mean, the baller will just melt when he hears that.
Right.
It's nonsense.
Well, that answers my
Everything's done
question.
on a tangent, a plane, right?
I asked you what fuss it was kicking up, and now I know.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm putting one together on the Umbra, penumbra, and Antembra. A third one jumped in there, so I'll maybe have that one ready tomorrow for you.
Cool. Can't wait.
But yeah, it's about shadows and how they. Just a little teaser. They'll put something on a flat surface like a table, and they'll cast a light on it. And of course, if it hits an opaque object like an apple, it can't go through the apple, so it casts a shadow. But because it's on the table, there's also reflective light, and a reflective light creates other types of shadows because it's bouncing off something other than the apple. Because the apple will block the light, and only the silhouette of the apple should show. So they're trying to use that with their Umbra, penumbra, and Antembra, and say that that's the same as a sun. Now, this is their model, heliocentric model. The sun's 93 million miles away. The moon is 200 and what? 60,000 miles, 50,000 miles from Earth, and then the Earth. And so when the sun's rays hit the moon, it's going to do the same thing, except I don't see the moon on the table, and I don't see any reflective light off a table hitting the moon's bottom or sides.
Indeed.
Where is that Umbra penumbra guy? Has he been in a down low looking for more information?
There is what?
The guy that was on the other day with the Umbra penumbra chanting.
Don't know.
What's his name again? Sam or something?
I have no idea. He came in a few times, didn't he? He came in for about a week.
They'll go retool, and they'll find something in Wiki or somewhere, and they'll come on again. And get
Yeah, they'll
finished.
go to a sextant handbook like Davies Sextant. Davies is a manufacturer of sextants, but there's other companies, and I've downloaded all their manuals and gone through them. They'll go through the sextant handbook and say, "See, it says here, this is how it works." Well, of course, it's a heliocentric slant. Just like the field manuals say you got to take into account artillery and Coriolis, but no one does because you don't have to.
Of course, it's just stupid, right?
Right. I mean, they have to put it in there. Nonsense.
Hold on, there goes my target. All right, I gotta count the spin of the earth. So let me shoot this bullet.
Yeah, I can just see the
Oh,
spotter saying, okay, the coordinate system is this west, this south. Oh, hang on, a second move. So 1,500 feet. Well, I've talked, so 4,500. Forget it, just lob it.
No, as you're calculating, the other guy don't believe that bullshit, and you're dead.
Yeah, that's right.
He sees you and he just shoots you.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how the military say they see it because it's there to also shoot it because it's there? Meanwhile, we're told, no, we don't see anything. Nothing's where it's supposed to be. It's all refracted around a curve of an Earth that we presuppose.
Yeah. It's interesting mess they're in, isn't it?
Well, you just ask yourself if it
I'd
makes
say
sense
so.
or not. When you get their explanations for these things, you just have to, as an audience member, say, does this make sense? Does it make sense that they measure a physical geometric spheroid horizon and then use the value that they get from it, R, to move the horizon into a non-physical location with the value they got from the physical location? Does that make sense? If it does, then, you trust on your Todd. Go away. But if, like me, you hear that and go, right, so it's a paradox because you're moving the horizon to a non-physical location, so it's not a physical location, and according to our opponent, we never get to see that physical location, yet it's measured as physical, claimed to be blocking boats and buildings with its physicality, and you're using the value that you get from its physicality to move it to a non-physical location to get around this little problem, making your Earth curve edge physical horizon non-existent. And you'll tell us how non-existent it is. You'll tell us we don't see it. You'll tell us it only exists in the maths, but based on the one that we don't see and is only in existence in the maths and apparently been measured by Al-Biruni, they can move it to a position where it's non-physical. It's like, well, if you're moving the horizon to a non-physical location, it's not capable of blocking boats and buildings anymore and isn't Earth curve. It isn't geometric. Your whole model falls to pieces. But as I say, if you hear that as an audience member and go, oh, that makes sense to me, moving a horizon to a non-physical location based on its physical measurement, that makes sense. Well, then good. Good for you.
I remember one of the first proofs was that boats disappear first over the horizon.
Right, Neil. The heliocentric model has boats falling over the edge of Earth. That's correct. A physical edge for them to be blocked by. And then they tell you in feet and inches how much it's being blocked by the physical Earth curve edge, that they now tell us only exists in maths, can never be seen, cannot be measured. That's
Well,
Earth
what
curve,
was
by the way.
those boats disappearing over?
It's not. It's not disappearing over a not actual location, an apparent location where the sky appears to meet the ground that changes with weather and is beyond the physical claim to be limitations that would block boats and buildings. Once you've demonstrated beyond that and they tell us it's only in existence in the maths, that's it. Earth curve only exists in the maths. There is no geometric horizon. You can't measure it. You can't get an R value from it. You certainly can't get an R value from it to move it. That makes no sense.
Yeah, they're in a bad spot. We're in a good spot.
Well, I can't remember who it was yesterday or the day before. Someone said, well, I'm not losing any sleep over this. It's like, well, yeah, me neither. This doesn't concern me. It doesn't change my paradigm if some fundy comes along and asserts that they can move the geometric horizon from its physical location that block boats and buildings into a non-physical location, where it's no longer geometric, no longer Earth curve, no longer capable of being measured, and the way we move it is with the physical measurement that we got. It's like, that's not going to cause me to lose any sleep. It's just nonsense, right? It's just double speak.
Yeah, I'm going to giggle myself to sleep with that one.
But for some people, that's very, very challenging. It's going to change their paradigm completely. I.e., they understand suddenly, if they understand that argument, that they haven't got a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon anymore, and that is the start and end of their argument, because they claim the horizon's Earth curve. They argue all day about how much it bends and how much it's claimed to block stuff. Like, well, it's a not actual location, it's an apparent location, meaning appearing but not actual, not physical. Changes, it moves. It's variable. It's not Earth
Well,
curve.
according to Rumpus, apparent is actual.
Yeah, someone else tried to have me over a barrel in the comments with that, and I'm like, here you go, here's a definition of apparent. Anyway, they haven't got a physical sphere edge. It's not geometric anymore. If it's not geometric, their R value is debunked, and their R value is the heart and soul of every single argument they make. So Earth as a sphere, debunked. Earth curve, physical horizon, debunked. R value they got from the physical Earth curve, edge horizon, debunked. Globe dead. That's the end. That's the end of the argument.
The globe is dead because the sun's rays come in divergent. The globe is dead right there. Everybody has two eyes. Next time when you see the rays coming through a cloud, or if you're walking through the forest, coming through the trees, that's your number one sign from the sun that it doesn't come in parallel. It has to come in parallel for their globe model to exist, because it has to go to the center of a presupposed circle, a globe. And it's got to be able to have the same angle on the surface as you would at the center. And the only way that could happen on a curved ball is if the sun rays come in straight.
Well, let's look at the three main ones. They argue about the geometric horizon, and you go through all of that stuff that Rumpus went through. And then you argue about the Coriolis, then where there's no drift when you're supposed to see it. And then gas pressure out of container, they argue about the gradient. And they still don't answer the question of how you got the pressure in the first place.
They can't. All three of those debunk their worldview. That's the end of their model in its entirety, in everything that it claims. Earth is a sphere spinning in space. Debunked with those three concepts, with those three arguments. Apparent, clearly visible or understood, obvious, similar, evident, plain, obvious, clear, manifest, visible, discernible. That's the first meaning. The second meaning, seeming real or true, but not necessarily so. Seeming, outward, superficial, supposed. So, apparent, appearing, but not necessarily physical, not necessarily so. And if you look up all the similes, none of them say physical, because that's not what apparent means. Visually obvious. Yeah, the horizon's visually obvious. What's that you say? The geometric horizon isn't visible, so it's not apparent, so it's not a horizon then. Only exists in the math. That's Earth curve, by the way. Geometric horizon, that's Earth curve. Physical obstruction, that's Earth curve. And according to their side, it is not apparent. Therefore, not a horizon. In existence as a horizon, in name only, in mathematics only, cannot be seen, cannot be measured. And they tell us exactly, those are their responses to us. That's them telling us how we can't see it, how it is not apparent. Not evident, not plain, not obvious, not clear, not manifest, not visible. That's their Earth curve edge. You can't see it. It doesn't exist.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah.
So that means you have no Earth curve then.
Yeah. The thing I'm describing as non-existent is Earth curve. The geometric sphere edge horizon.
Before the show starts, I've got 4 pictures of how the sun actually comes to Earth, and then 2 of their illustrations.
In Ballbusters. Or Master B.
No, Master B. Master B.
Which is the first one, the black and white one?
Let's start with their illustrations first.
Is the first one the black and white one?
Yes, but go to the other 2 pictures after and let's start with their illustrations first.
Okay, I've got the just get it centered a little bit better, and then I'll tell you when I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready when you are.
All right, so you see the Earth on the left and the sun on the right, and the rays coming in parallel?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how they say it happens. Go to the next one.
Oh,
So now here's an illustration of...
Sorry, I don't think I was starting on the right one. Yes, I'm starting on the right one now.
All right, so you see the... Start over for me. Sun rays coming parallel to Earth on the left.
Yes.
Then if you go to the next one, it's a depiction of Eratosthenes at the wall or whatever, from Cyan and Alexandria. He gets a 7.2 degree angle, and see how it says sun ray striking top of wall in Alexandria, sun ray entering well in Cyan. So it has to come in parallel and has to go to the center, because then he can go to Alexandria and say, oh, this is the degrees difference, and that this is what I'll use to do the circumference of the Earth. Now let's go and see how the sun rays come in, and start at that black and white one first.
Okie doke.
All right, so use your eyes. Is that coming in parallel?
No.
How about the next one?
No.
How about the next one?
No.
How about the last one in the forest?
No.
Okay, ballers, wake up, use your eyes.
Epic.
I'm
Hey,
done.
Adam.
Afternoon, guys. You okay?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all. Freezing, but other than that, lovely day, innit?
Well, it's sunny and snowing, which is epic.
Need more snow. Not enough for sledging just yet.
Not quite, no.
Do you have,
unfortunately.
Adam, do you have your lucky charm?
You did. I nearly had the cheeky potato muncher. Wait till I got hold of him. That time.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, there is a link to get £50 for switching your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by the Adam Meakin, Neil, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
afternoon.
Top of the morning to
Good
you,
morning.
Sheriff Brady.
Top of the morning to you, Neil.
Hey, we'll have none of that. No idle racism at the beginning of the show, if you don't mind.
Well, I'll
be
make a
idle.
toast.
We're never
I'll make
idle.
It's never idle racism. How dare you? Overt and blunt.
Never
Right.
idle racism.
As we were discussing it in the pre-show, any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Never idle Earth curvature.
That's been debunked by the Black Swan.
That's correct, Neil. It has indeed been debunked by the Black Swan.
Hello.
It's
Owen.
also here, and it's also
Owen.
been debunked by the properties of water and how water behaves.
I'm an even bigger fan of Arwen at the moment because he keeps blowing smoke up my ass every show. Thank you, Arwen, for all the nice words. I really appreciate it, by the way. I am totally blushing right now.
Hey, I mean it. I really appreciate.
Don't launch
Everything
into it. You will
I've
genuinely
done.
embarrass me if I'm here while you're saying those things. But thank you. I do appreciate the kind words. Much obliged. So yeah, Arwen's giving me big props in his show, the Flat Earth Early Bird, on the Arwen YouTube channel. Subscribe today. So check it out. Much obliged. Really appreciate all the kind words, Arwen, in all seriousness.
All right.
He also pointed out that Mark Sargent had given me a mention. So they're discussing, him and Karen are discussing Earth, and they're basically saying he's getting more and more blunt with his appearances. So obviously he's a guest on shows as opposed to here where people who come are my guests, which makes it worse for me when you hear what I'm about to say. But there we go. So as a guest, Dave is getting a bit more blunt with the people he's speaking to, going, you just don't understand, try and use your brain a bit more. And Mark replied, well, he's not at the Nathan Oakley level quite yet. But he's getting there. In other words, very much a negative spin on. He's heading towards Nathan Oakley levels of sass with his appearances, which I thought was quite amusing. But Arwin highlighted that for me. Thanks again for pointing out that link, Arwin.
Yeah, I had just heard it 50 minutes before the show, and I thought Nathan's gonna think that's funny.
I did get a kick out of it, yeah.
Hey, and every mention is a mention. You're now a household level of approaching things, apparently. So
I don't know. Getting a derogatory shout out from Mark on Strange World isn't necessarily being a household name, but I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, any evidence
doing
of
a bit
physical
more
earth
of
curve?
that? Are you announcing that? I thought you got out planned, or
What, sorry?
You were saying you're doing a bit more householdy stuff. You'd been asked to be interviewed or something by.
Oh, yeah, I'm always asked to be interviewed by various different people. In this case, it's just a small YouTube channel, so it's Zetetic News.
Well, maybe you're not a household name yet, but you're definitely the woodshed hero.
Indeed.
Wait a
Anyway.
second. Nathan was talked about on a construction site. I remember I heard that.
Yeah, I think you were there.
Well, this is lovely.
Father of a stolen child said he heard construction workers talking about Nathan Oakley. That's it, buddy. You made it.
Yeah, but you work on construction sites and you play the show out loud for everybody.
Oh, yeah, that I do.
That tickled me more, that you were told not to be talking on your headphones. So you're like, okay, I'll just stick it on speaker then, and you can all listen to Flat Earth Debate while I'm fitting up a set of stairs or whatever you're doing that day.
Yep, that's what I did.
Right, anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about me. What do you all think about me? No, I'm only joking, said Johnny Bravo line. Moving on, any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
If there was, we would notice it. But no 15-degree spin of the Earth.
you just don't understand Globiolis.
Oh,
I don't think you get my drift.
I do. I definitely do.
Oh.
I'm happy with the position with Coriolis at the moment. It was so clouded in double-speak nonsense, and there was no seeming explanation to why or how somebody could convolute the subject so easily. You rack your brains and you get the conspiratard answers. But in reality, we've literally, and maybe in the last week, I've figured out it's just literally holding two positions simultaneously. It's just cognitive dissonance. And I think we'll find that at the bottom of a lot of the explanations for why is it this person can deny the thing they've claimed 30 seconds ago and then hold a completely contrary position. Well, that is literally the definition of cogdis, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, it is.
And they'll say it like 20 seconds before, and then 20 seconds later, they'll say the very exact opposite and not even be aware of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing mental state to be in, cognitive dissonance.
But holding two contradicting positions is not illogical. Come on. It's
what?
It's the new normal. Everybody does it these days.
Oh, everybody's doing it these days. It's okay, man. Hold both positions contrary to one another simultaneously and defend one and then deny that you defended it and defend the other and then deny that you defended that. Why not? Everyone's doing it. Everyone's
I'm a
doing it.
racist, but I believe in equality.
Okay. Look, it's entirely up to any fundamentalist religious zealot with a bald belief to reify a not actual drift at 15 degrees now because we're turning underneath stuff and then deny that it's supposed to even happen. That's their bag, not mine.
Next.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
That's
Well,
nonsense.
they only made up that meaning for gravitas because they need something rotating. In the previous question, they hold two positions. It is rotating, it isn't rotating. So I don't know how gravity comes to help them when they made it up for a rotating Earth that isn't rotating.
No, gravity doesn't involve itself in a rotation. It was really conjured up to bend the direction of the relative density displacement into circular fashion, into spherical fashion, actually, to a center point. That was really the only reason why they conjured it forth.
So the vast oceans are on the ball. How?
Are you asking me?
Uh-huh.
Because of gravity? The thing that
Is
nobody
that-
knows what it
Hey,
is.
see
but
how
they
we
like to
can-
think of it as a force?
How we can correctly identify where the priesthood lay out the rhetoric in the globe Earth model or the heliocentric model officially. But he can also, when cornered, like he's just done, appeal to the trench level rhetoric of, well, I'm immediately going to appeal to this not actual force of gravity to hold the oceans here if I'm put on the spot. You know, well, why wouldn't I use both positions and correctly identify the first and then use the second, which isn't true anymore? It's not a force. But he'll still appeal to it. Well done, kudos, Arwin. And so quickly and swiftly, too.
I wasn't done. Let me finish with them. So if the Earth is not rotating, how does it hold the water? And if the Earth is rotating, how does it hold the water? Since you hold both positions simultaneously, Baller, Arwin.
What? No, gravity. What? How does the Earth rotation have to do with that?
Well, 20 seconds earlier, as you're playing Baller Arwin, you said the Earth is not rotating underneath objects, and now you're saying it is. So how does this water, with this gravity that is supposed to hold it to the from the center of the Earth, some kind of force that's not a force, how's it holding the water if the Earth is a ball and not turning? And then when you want to say the Earth is turning, how is it working? Since you hold both positions.
I didn't say that. I never.
You're
had
supposed
those
to be
words
Baller
with-
Arwin, not
Oh,
have
I'm
amnesia.
supposed to be. Well, you
No,
just
he's
put
being
words
Baller
in my
Arwin.
mouth that I didn't say.
Yeah, he said he didn't say that. That was his response, 10th. Very appropriate, too. He claimed he
No,
didn't claim it. Next,
Very
Arwin,
good, 'cause-
demand
We were
that
talking
10th
about gravity. What does this have to do with the Earth spin? It's no
thought-
relevant influence to it. I already said that.
I said Baller Arwin, that was your cue, but then you had convenient amnesia.
That's part of being Baldwin. That's
Baldwin. I love it.
Well played. Well played.
I was going to
You're
say,
a
that's
Baldwin?
textbook. Everything Arwin did was textbook. He even had you over a barrel at the end, 10th man, because you didn't know where to go with it.
Oh, I knew where to go with it. He just had another answer for it.
Where I
But
would
I
have
don't
gone
know
as...
why you brought in Earth spin when we were talking about gravity.
Yeah, he asked you how the oceans were held to the ball Earth, and you said gravity, which was perfect. One word answer, no
Yeah.
explanation.
Right. So what's the problem then? What is
Well, the problem is 20 seconds earlier, the ballers would say the Earth is not rotating. So how is it holding it when it's not rotating?
Well, it doesn't really matter whether it is rotating or not. Gravity is going to keep the water sticking to the ball anyway.
Ah, I see. So it's just demonstratable, this gravity of yours.
Yes, the water's sticking to the ball Earth.
Affirming the consequent
that begging the
logical
question?
fallacy. Perfectly executed.
Isn't that begging the question, Baldwin?
No, it's if P then Q, Q therefore P.
Well,
Right,
it would be
if
begging the
gravity...
question if I
let me
wasn't
just lay it out,
absolutely
Arwin. Hold on.
certain that the
Hold
Earth
on.
was a ball.
Arwin. Let me just lay out your formal logical fallacy. If we've got gravity, then the oceans will be held to the Earth. The oceans are held to the Earth because we've got gravity. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P.
Right. But I don't need to basically address that because I know the Earth is a ball, and when you know something with certainty, then using presuppositional systems is okay.
Right, any evidence the R value? R value.
Can I just
Nonsense.
tip my hat to that, Owen? Respect, prof.
Yeah.
So-
Got to give him props as well, because the fact that Arwin can do that during a housekeeping question without getting me annoyed and dragging it out too long is epic. He just knows how to do it quickly, which is good.
It's the genuineness of the response as well. Well, because it's... Well, where's the proof of gravity? Well, because water sticks to a ball.
The only thing it lacked, Arwin, the only thing it lacked was at some stage what would have been perfect is if you demanded that 10th man prove that you make the claim of gravity in the first instance. That would have been epic.
Yeah, but that would be kind
Yeah.
of complicated because we don't know what gravity is yet. So yeah. That'd be a
Well, I
good
know how
point,
water
actually.
sticks to
Like,
a
why
ball.
are you telling us that we claim gravity when we don't even know what it is? Why are you nagging?
Yeah, how dare you?
I can
That was,
I can
How
prove water
dare
sticks
you.
to a ball.
You can prove what, Neil?
Water sticks to a ball.
Oh yeah, how'd you prove that?
I have a sponge ball. It's loaded with water.
Does it drip out the bottom of it or evaporate out the top?
Only if you squeeze it, and only if the sun comes out, it'll evaporate it.
We still talking about a sponge?
Does it ever drip out the top?
No,
Ah.
the bottom.
Bummer.
Right, but the Earth is not a sponge, though.
It could be with all the land and stuff. Doesn't land absorb the water?
Some of it.
Are you arguing for sponge Earth or what?
I have a theory.
The moon
Sponge Earth.
kind of looks like a sponge, you know. So
What looks like a sponge?
the moon.
I have a new theory I'm working on. Sponge Earth.
Look, I'm already thinking of SpongeBob.
Hold on, Arwin's put a
Sponge
claim
Earth
out.
SquarePants.
Moon sponge, you say, Arwin?
Well, yeah, you know, it's been seen as cheese, but it kind of, you could think of it as a sponge too. Why not? I was just trying to support his train of thought.
Okie dokie. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Not yet. But Alwyn thinks there could be one day.
How
Right.
is your YouTube
Well, they
page?
can do it. It's just, are they going to do it? You know, that's the question.
Does an iTunes account count?
Oh, here we go. Dr. Becky hasn't had a mention in a few days. Did you want to add something, Flat Earth Solar? Or did... It's hot micing, my friend. Can you pop yourself on mute?
She's cleaning it for him.
Clearly not. That for you. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, no evidence for the distance to the sun.
Oh, Mr. Sensible was in my chat today. I had a very long talk with him and some other regular ballers in my chat about that distance and how, like I was saying, okay, no, it's holographic because only evidence and phenomenon we even have is light-based. It's all light-based, whatever we get. There's no signs of physicality to it. And there's ways of actually confirming whether it would be physical or not by applying laws of perspective, because physical objects are in literal physical locations. They have to occupy some physical literal space somewhere. And then, yeah, you could try to approach it and see if a perspective applies whatever's going to happen, or whether something very unusual is going to happen, typically associated with holographic phenomenon. And that is that the visual will bend away and such. And I discussed that very elaborately on my show in the last half hour or hour, something like that. But yeah, I don't think you really have a distance to any of it. I think that you can never reach it. I don't think it even changes in angular size in angular size as you would get closer, like that, in a persistent way with perspective laws. So no distance to the sun.
Did I see you get a super chat from Mr. Sensible as well for being nice to a baller?
Yeah.
Well, I just caught that as we just logging in.
It's not the first time though. He's done it before, and I have other ballers too that give me super chats because I don't go full Nathan Oakley on them, even though I could, by the way.
Can we not make that a thing,
I think
please?
you know when
Hello?
he disappears after the live show finishes. I reckon that's what are you secretly coaching ballers, and this is how they're paying you.
Probably. He's probably charging.
Yeah, you should, because you're better than they are at it. So
It's the beginning of a $6 million fundraising tour.
Hey, don't spoil it. No, I don't know, man. I'm just doing what I feel needs to be done. And I think that the biggest problem we have in general, which even came to this situation of flat earth and ballers everywhere and ball zealots, is communication issues. I think that a lot of problems and conflicts in general when it comes to these kinds of philosophical issues and physics issues can be resolved when communication is improved and restored. And that doesn't mean abide by the rules that are convenient to one side. That means just learning to both from all sides. Yeah, just give each other a little bit more room to let things sink in and don't pile stress on, because that piling on stress usually ends up in having more difficulty trying to understand complex things, you see. Now, that doesn't mean that Nathan doesn't fulfill an absolute critical function over here, because baller zealots, there's nothing, they will never see reason. That's why they typically end up here, to get stomped, because that's the only way you can actually reveal that they can never step away from their position. They've become incapable of doing that. Right? Sorry for rambling on.
That's you're describing zealotry, and yes. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Another one of those things that they believe because there's no way of knowing, because they haven't dug down there to know, and they tried with that borehole in Russia, but they pre-assumed they were digging into a sphere anyway. So they're always going to pre-assume everything.
Tip of the day in chat summed it up. It says, lying causes a lot of stress. Yeah, it does. My chat not working on here. Figure that out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It does cause a lot of stress.
Right. But lying is also often used as a defense mechanism at the same time to defend against the stress. But then afterward, the lying itself does bring turmoil with it. So
is that when they have two positions on one subject? Is there lying, or is it cognitive dissonance?
Well, it's a combination of both, just zealotry, just believing it can be resolved and they're figuring it out. And that's what makes them hold on to it, basically, in such moments. And at the same time, if we just not try to ram it in their heads, they might end up eventually just realizing it. But this whole globiolus that they've made, it is really just a kind of like gravity. It is a construct, a machination based on an original real concept and then taken totally out of whack into this fictional construct to fool everybody into the Earth being a ball somehow.
Well, let me give you an example. In the pre-show, I showed Nathan actual sun rays, and they're divergent. And the heliocentric globe model says, no, they're parallel. And a baller could open his eyes, and his eyes will show, no, they're not parallel, they're divergent. But for my heliocentric position to work, I need to believe they're parallel. So what position are they in right now?
Quick shout out to Adriel, who says, I got some cabbage for righteous force. I have no idea what that means, but thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
Arwen, that was directed at you.
What? Cabbage?
No, not the.
Oh. No, sorry. What did you say again?
Oh, okay. No, that's a good comeback right there. That's a good.
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. All right. So the heliocentric model says the sun's rays are coming in parallel, and that's the only way it's going to work for their model. And they have illustrations, drawings. But in actual photography and your own eyes, you see the sun's rays coming divergent. So you never see them coming in parallel. So what's happening here with the baller?
Well, yeah, imagining the sun to be a giant thing at a vast distance with enormous amounts of lights that arrive to us, yeah, that brings in complications. And when reality points out that that's not actually the case, right, it's already a mistake, because it is really based on the offset that it is a physical object in a Euclidean location somehow giving off light. Right, that's already a mistake. The reality is that it's just not that at all. It's not close. It's not far away. It's not an object. But yeah,
Well-
if you're going to think it's a giant object far away, then indeed the natural consequences would be that light would have to be pretty much parallel because it's fast and it's very big. And the farther away it is, the more parallel the light that will reach you would have to be. And if it's not, yeah, they got a mechanical problem.
Right, I very
So that wasn't.
sorry,
Go
10th.
on,
I
Nathan.
very foolishly said don't make this a thing. So Godzilla's obviously decided to fully utilize it as a thing. So I'll read it out. Although it's also a slight slant towards Arwin. So what are you talking about, Baldwin? Says Godzilla with super chat. I pay to have Nathan go, quote, full Nathan Oakley, end quote, on Ballers. So yeah, that's my bad for trying to say don't make it a thing. And thank you for the super chat though, all the same. Godzilla 37. Too concise, Arwin. You're supposed to drag it out to the point where I get annoyed, apparently.
Oh, I could try to rumpus you if if that helps.
Not really. That definitely won't help. Not when I want you to give it as concisely and as quickly as
Notice
their
how my-
position takes.
Notice how my point got convoluted between full Nathan Oakley and Arwin's
My bad.
long description
free.
of the
Sorry,
sun. No,
10th.
I'm okay. I'm on it still. So
Go
back
ahead.
to Arwin. We're talking about the rays of the sun. We don't care how far the sun is away or how it's made. That's not the subject. We're talking about what your eyes see versus what they say has to happen for the heliocentric model to work. So when the baller sees all the rays of the sun divergent, and yet the only way their model stays alive, just not even true, but just stays alive a little longer, those rays have to be parallel. But no one's ever seen parallel rays.
Any response, Arwin?
What's the
If not,
baller
I've got
do?
one more housekeeping question.
What's the baller do there?
That's probably what is it? The celestial refraction. Yeah, yeah, that would be it.
Right,
It's
you
just
think
the
that-
atmosphere is thinner, so it kind of splits the light up through refraction, and then it
So-
becomes the way you said it,
Okay, good.
something like that.
So that means Eratosthenes and all the other things they use parallel lights for can't happen because of the refraction, right?
I've got it on screen for the audience, Arwin. So these lines that are being used with wells and considered parallel, you're saying they're bent. So this isn't possible for the audience's benefit on screen now.
What?
What? What?
It would only no wait. It only bends when the atmosphere is really thin. So down to Earth, what? Yeah, eventually it is kind of parallel. What? I'm getting a little confused here. What am I supposed to be
So it's-
arguing for again?
So
Parallel.
so
Parallel.
it's-
Well, you're arguing for parallel lines being bent, and what we're having pointed out by 10th Man is that they're divergent.
Right.
You mean right?
So Arwin is saying they're parallel except when they're bent.
Right. Well, it's just like terrestrial refraction. You know, atmosphere is really weird. It makes things and light bend and all that. So if it's going to bend the horizon into seeming like a flat plane, then why wouldn't it be able to basically make the sun appear much closer by? Right? Makes the Earth
Mhm.
seem further away and flatter, and it makes the sun look closer by kind of splitting up the light as it enters our atmosphere. In this type.
Well, if it's refracted and bent, how can they take a straight light ray to the center of the Earth?
That's just conceptual. They never actually did that. There is
Are they
no
bent or straight,
room
Arwin?
in
Are
the
they bent?
center
If so-
for light to shine into.
Bent or straight? If they're bent, none of the stuff works. If it's straight, then why have we got them claiming to be converging with eclipses, but in reality they're diverging? So we've got three problems. Are they bent? Why are they showing as diverging? Why they claim to be both parallel and converging? Three problems.
Sounds like mathematical problems to me. I don't know. Celestial refraction makes perfect sense to me. I can't help that they're calculatory approaches of previous supposed proof that the Earth is a ball have been mistaken because they just didn't understand that there was such a thing as celestial refraction, just like they didn't know about terrestrial refraction before. So
So
Yeah.
you can't help parallel lines being bent.
well, you can, because the sun rays are divergent as far as we can see at Earth, but it is a
So-
giant ball very far away. So it would have to be parallel at first and then diverge as it enters the atmosphere through celestial refraction.
Can't have both. Can't be bent and straight. Right, I'm going to do a few shout outs for super chats. And Godzilla, you get in your way because this is getting annoying. Anyway, right, a couple of quick shout outs. So, shout out to Julio Pabon, who says, "We do not live on a Julio-centric Earth." Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Julio Pabon. Also, woo woo woo! Shout out to James Richards for the $50 super chat. Says, 7 and the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners. And the thoughts of those on the earth shall err concerning them, square brackets, and they shall be altered from all their ways, close brackets. Yea, they shall err and take them to be gods. Tenth, can you translate that for me?
Refracted.
Sounds like
God.
he's reading from the Book of Enoch.
That's a refracted small g God, I guess. I'm not sure what he's saying.
Thank you very much for the super chat, though. Really, really do appreciate the support. Also, another shout out to Godzilla. Cabbage is sometimes slang for money. Excuse me. Spend more cabbage to tell you that. Cabbage means money. So some money for... He's saying I've got to pay someone. No, that's not going to happen. So if it was cabbage for Righteous, I'm really sorry, Righteous. Your cabbage isn't coming your way.
Grow your own cabbage.
Thank you very much for the super chat.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your support, Godzilla. But times are tough.
Let us alone.
I've got one more housekeeping question.
Neil, it is Book of Enoch, isn't it? I've just searched it.
Yes, that was from the Book of Enoch.
Kudos for knowing where it's
Yeah,
from.
that's not. Yeah, back to parallel and bent lines here, if I may, unless someone.
No,
wants to
I
finish.
actually wanted to use that.
Howie wants to talk immediately. He's getting more baller by the day, isn't he?
Different.
So, no, the moment 10th wanted to consider or have a point considered, Arwin then needs to talk immediately. I think that's the perfect baller tactic. Well done, Arwin, again.
Yes. No, but I have a serious point, though, about that super chat. With the seven planets, it's very interesting because there's something to it. What if researchers earlier indeed did try to research the nature of the celestial lights, and then they were so baffled about what they discovered, about what they just didn't understand and didn't know about the 7 planets and what they looked like and their influence, that they might have, just because not understanding it, have in some way declared them godly or something. Maybe that's
Well,
what
that's nice.
That's nice. And
Let's get
hold on,
back to
10th.
what I
Hold
was
on.
talking
On the
about.
hold on, 10th. On the one hand, I want to give you praise and also shout out to Adriel, who says, Godzilla, Guy, not my cabbage. Guy got my cabbage. Is that English? Godzilla, Guy got my cabbage. Okay. Here's some more cabbage to Nathan. I'm totally lost with this whole cabbage thing. And then, ayu! Thank you very much for the super chat, Adriel. Okay, I was trying to get you on track. Stop. Everyone stop. Right, I do appreciate the support, and I do appreciate you trying to dissect a $50 super chat, because I appreciate the support so much. However, let's get back on track. We've got 2 positions that were summarised by Arwin prior to this, right? The first was that it's bending light. The second was it is actually coming in parallel, but then bending. However, the picture that's been on screen while we had that little obfuscation distraction from our resident ballwin Arwin is that they're not doing any of those things. I've got the picture on screen. So let's get back on track. Bendy, what was it? Bendy parallel, right, Arwin? Yeah? We're back on track.
No. It's not bendy parallel. First, they're straight, and then as it hits the atmosphere, celestial refraction happen, very similar to regular refraction in optics, and then it diverges off. It scatters. splits
Then
up.
how do you answer a zenith position of a star or a sun directly over a geographical position of the Earth where there is no refraction?
Sorry, the siren's going off out there.
I
Seriously,
love the timing. I love
You
the
really
timing.
are a
It was-
good
it's an
ball.
ambulance. But stars?
Yeah, let's get back.
Why don't they
zenith,
bend?
zenith position of a star or a sun or the moon directly
Zenith
overhead.
position?
There's no refraction.
Well, it's not bright enough to actually to gather energy momentum in light ways to really visually scatter. But if stars were extremely bright as the sun, I bet that there would be some divergent lines going down eventually. As
I
it
thought light is not a wave.
Well,
Ah.
then you just agreed with me.
Let's not go on to that. Go on, 10th. Just give it a response. Then there's more cabbage coming my way. I'll say I'm
That's
not all
grateful.
cabbage. That's a truckload of cabbage. That.
There is, yeah. There's a lot of cabbage. But
Wow.
carry on. Keep on track for a
can
second.
make a lot of borscht.
Ah!
with that.
10th. Go ahead.
Anyway, so Arwen, when the sun is directly overhead, that's the zenith position, and we've seen the pictures from the high altitude balloons. You could see the hot spot, and if you were right under, I mean, if you were in that hot spot, that would be the sun would be at your zenith. There is no refraction.
You're still in the atmosphere, aren't you?
No, that's coming through the atmosphere to the ocean surface as a hot spot. There is no refraction there. That is just directly overhead. There's no shadows even. That's the whole idea with Eratosthenes. Remember, it was directly overhead. There was no
I got a
shadow.
question.
and
What
then-
the hell is an
Talking about-
atmosphere?
I don't know about any hotspot you're talking about.
Why was I getting rumpused?
'Cause
Aristophanes.
I don't like the word atmosphere.
Excuse me, we're in baller world right now.
Fine. They're talking within ball context.
Eratosthenes-
I've got to address that now. Unfortunately, you can't call foul on that because they're talking within the context of a ball Earth. They're talking about Aristophanes. They're talking about what they claim happens on the presupposed ball Earth. So you can't say, you're begging the question. Yeah, they're talking about how it should work on a ball. So you can't really call foul on that, Neil. Feel free to continue, 10th.
Yes, I'm going to post a picture in Master B right now. And if you would please put it up, this will make my point visually. And here it comes. Tell me when you got it.
Yeah, you're up. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is. There's that famous Eratosthenes. And there's, you see that one ray over the pillar on the lower pillar. There's no shadow whatsoever because it's at its zenith. There's no refraction. But the one over there in Alexandria got a shadow.
Yeah, sorry, but it's not taking into account the atmosphere causing celestial refraction. So this is just not
No,
correct.
that's where was there
Stop.
Eratosthenes
Hold on.
when he
Didn't we just
did
cover that?
this?
Hold on. No. Please don't do that, Arwen. Don't go around in circles. We've covered that.
Hey, you wanted me to be.
No, I
bold,
didn't.
right?
That was Godzilla. I don't want that. I was happy with the old Arwen that was concise.
But you can go all Nathan Oakley on me if you want to.
I don't want to, Arwen. I don't want to. Please don't make me. God. Anyway, right. While that interlude's just happened, so I'll do another couple of quick shout-outs. So shout out to Del West Watson, who says more cabbage for you. Thumbs up. And then Godzilla, who says cabbage for you. Thank you very much for the super chat. Also, Tony Whitcomb, who's given me 100 English pounds, which is a massive, massive super chat. Wow. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. He says, go and purchase some massive molecules so you can go to that fake place called space. Indeed you do. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Go ahead, you two.
May I
Feel free,
continue?
continue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Arwen, was Eratosthenes breathing air when he recorded his findings?
I don't know. I wasn't there. Probably.
So this atmosphere of theirs, right, within the baller language here, he was on Earth saying that there was no shadow at one point, and then he was saying 500 miles or whatever away there was a shadow.
Okay.
So that included the atmosphere. So why are you trying to get rid of the atmosphere or use it as some kind of filter?
I don't see the problem here. Celestial refraction is just going to
Nathan.
diverge it like that. And yeah, it will still arrive and basically cause that angle of the apparent sun change.
So the picture that Nathan's got up with parallel rays, is that how it arrives? Or is it the other picture that shows the sun's rays
It's the same.
divergent?
It's
is
the
way
same
it
bloody
arrives?
question.
Which,
Yeah, I am getting
which one?
annoyed. Same question. So bendy parallel, you say, Arwin?
No, it starts straight and then it ends up bent.
So bendy parallel then, Arwin?
No, it's not bendy and parallel straight at the same time. First it's straight, then it bent.
Well, then you can't have had Eratosthenes figure out the circumference of a sphere if that's
Correct.
the way it happens.
Well,
Correct.
Arwin, what rate is this secondary
No,
bending?
you can ask him in a second. Just say that again, Tenth. That's the conclusion. Yes, correct, Tenth.
Yeah,
Then you
yeah,
can't do what's
yeah.
on screen. Yes.
You can't
Adam,
have-
good question. It's
don't
actually an
deflect.
R-based bending. So
Don't deflect. Don't deflect. Then you can't. Eratosthenes could not have measured the circumference of the Earth if it's bent.
why not?
Please say yes, Arwin. What do you mean, why not? Because you've got bendy parallel. Oh,
I don't
let's
see
get
the
him what he wants.
problem.
Let's just chill. Let's just take a breath. Count to 3. It's Arwin. It's Arwin. It's Arwin.
I got one more slide, Nathan. Go to the last slide I put up. It's more detail.
Okay.
Right, and by the way, on record, I don't see the problem because I'm kind of losing oversight at this point, but I'll try to sit through it.
Yeah, and ain't that just the point? Yeah, that's why the ballers do it. Because if you can confess to you losing oversight, then there's a good chance that the audience have also lost the plot along the merry way that you've led them. So, God, as this has been a slight interlude, another quick shout out to James Richard, who says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." End quote. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, James Richard. Really appreciate the support. Hopefully
That's
that
from
doesn't...
the Bible.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Exodus 24:6.
So do you have that last slide up, Nathan?
I do. Go ahead.
All right, so here it is. This is how we get the circumference of your globe, Baldwin. Eratosthenes had 0 refraction at the well in Cyan because it was directly overhead, zenith position. And if the sun's rays come in parallel, then he could figure out from the center of the Earth the exact angle to know what the radius would be to get the circumference. But if light comes in at an angle, funny angles, or divergent, ball game over.
Why? It's just going straight, then it bends a little in a corner, just like light going into an aquarium bends in a corner, and then it goes straight on from there on. I don't see the problem.
Not in his measurements.
No,
it doesn't.
because all of celestial navigation and anything having to do with the radius for the circumference has to have light coming in parallel for it to work on an arced surface. Now, if you're on a flat surface, it doesn't matter how the light comes in,
Okay.
because you're only finding an angle from your horizon up to your zenith and what's in between. So it all works on the flat Earth, but never on an arc globe sphere.
It works
Never.
perfectly. You don't seem to
Oh,
understand that when you're
Anthony.
looking straight up, there
Right,
is almost no refraction. You moron. You utter moron. You don't understand anything about this, do you?
Oh, really? Was
You
there a
idiot.
shadow in Cyan?
Yeah, so there's no refraction. So all the refraction crap
there
you've
a
been talking about is
shadow in
Why
completely
you coming
irrelevant.
from the
No, no,
You
no,
do
no.
not have
Celestial
refraction.
Hello, can you stop
You do
rumpusing
not
rumpus?
have refraction when you're looking vertically.
Say that again.
What?
You do not have any refraction when you're looking near vertical. So all the crap you've been talking about refraction
well,
is
thank you.
What?
utterly invalid.
Well, thank you for
Then why
agreeing
do
with my
sun rays
position.
come in divergent, Krampus?
So I didn't hear that
It
you
would
overtook
have
one.
to
I
be
didn't hear that
vertical
question.
as well, or that would make no sense.
Sorry,
So
can you say that
when
again,
light
Arwen? I
goes
didn't quite
through
catch the first word.
multiple layers of different densities, it doesn't refract, Rumpus. Is that what you're saying?
When it's coming through, if the layers are orientated perpendicular to the light, there is no refraction. So, for instance, if you get a glass block and then you point the light directly perpendicular face on to the block, the light will not be refracted. Only if you put it at an angle. So therefore there is no refraction when you're dealing with the cases where the layers of the Earth's atmosphere are perpendicular to the light rays. So the chit-chat you've been going on about for the last 15 minutes, well, 10 minutes, I only caught it for the last 5 or 10, is utter drivel and just demonstrates you know nothing, of course, because you're science deniers. You know nothing about science. You know nothing about refraction. And the parallel
Right.
issue you're talking about is absolutely irrelevant as well, because you take the center of the image of the shadow, so the parallelism of the light of the sun is utterly irrelevant. The point is it centers around that. You take the shadow around the center of the what you're getting. There's only a 0.5 degree lack of parallelness, but that just means you get a slight penumbra. So you can just focus on the umbra. So if you do that, that means you're getting it from where there is no you get a nice small shadow. So from providing you concentrate on the umbra, all this issue about light rays being parallel goes out the window. The refraction issue goes out the window. So every point you've made is utterly, 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 utterly wrong.
So it's
Are
not
you saying
parallel.
light is not parallel?
That's what I was about to ask.
Right,
You
the
did
sun,
confirm
yeah,
that.
the
What was
sun
the
has an
variance that it's not
the sun,
parallel?
Hold on, Rumpus.
the sun has
Hold
an
on,
angular
Rumpus.
size
We
of
heard you.
0.5
Rumpus,
degrees.
Rumpus. Thank you. Go ahead, Adam.
No, just to, if you could just clarify the statement, just how much off parallel? You gave a figure to it, Rumpus. I just didn't catch it. That was all.
I did. Right, the figure is 0.5 degrees. This angular size.
okay.
Who's playing something in the background here? The angular size of the sun is 0.5 degrees. You can just measure that yourself. It's the same size as your, I think it's your little finger. When you hold it up at at arm's length, put your hand up. That I think your little finger might be, I can't remember, it's 0.5 or 1 degrees angular size. Now you can put that up against the sun, you'll see this obscured by, I think it's your little finger. And I think that actually might be 1 degree, but so it's half that. So you can then measure the angular size of the sun with your finger and then say that's 0.5. That means that the light coming from the sun is 0.5 degrees. So from your eye, you see 0.5 angular size, which means the light is not quite parallel coming to your eyes from the sun, but obviously the middle of the sun is. So that means that's why you get penumbra on shadows. But if you put down a stick and you measure the middle of the shadow, then you've effectively got the middle of the sun. So you can ignore the issue of the angular size of the sun, providing you focus on the umbra. And that's what people do. So all that issue about the lack of parallelism is completely irrelevant. And as I said,
That's
there's no
horse
refraction
shit.
either.
Show us a
You don't know what you're
penumbra,
talking
number
about.
one. Number
You're a
two,
moron.
when you invoke refraction, what type of refraction are you talking about?
Any sort of refraction. When you're dealing with the layers of the sun,
No, not any sort.
refraction because
No.
the light's coming perpendicular to the surfaces.
Terrestrial refraction, sir. So,
It's neat.
can you please
there is no
provide the
refraction, full
radius
stop.
of the Earth?
You're a moron. There's no refraction.
Oh,
Terrestrial
yeah,
refraction is
thanks.
just a
You
different.
lose
It's just
again.
talking about the sort of refraction you might meet as a
Call me
result
a
of
moron.
using
Air is
lower
not the
angles.
atmosphere. Second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth. Double speaking every friggin' statement out of
You
that
don't even know the difference between
piece
entropy
of
and
shit you got.
Okay, a couple of quick shout outs. So shout out to Powell Broder for hitting the super chat. Really appreciate it. Doesn't say anything, just gives me €20. Thank you very much indeed. Also shout out to James Richard. They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed that trust in graven images that say to the molten images, ye are our gods. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat.
That's the
Isaiah
Bible too.
42:17.
I mean, Q is so stupid. He's scared of actually
Q
getting.
is
Oh,
so
God.
stupid. You're the stupid one.
Roll on
Don't
the
even know
outcomes.
what science is. Tells us that natural laws we just made up. Air is not the atmosphere. Among other train wrecks, documented train wrecks of disasters. You should be imprisoned.
By me, Q.
You're a
Every time
fraud.
I demolish
You don't have
totally,
no idea with what
every
you
time.
speak of.
When you haven't got
What
a
type
mute
of
button, you
refraction,
get
please?
demolished by me every single
What
time.
type of
There's no such
refraction
thing as
were you
natural
speaking
law.
to,
That's
please?
that's a legislative
Okay, let's
thing.
get us back on track.
There's-
Rumpus,
we have the
Rumpus,
laws of nature.
Rumpus,
You
hello,
make
can I just...
natural law
Hello,
up.
Rumpus, thank you. Just want to shout out one more super chat. Shout out to Godzilla37 who says, cabbage. It's not just money, apparently it's also the filler between Rumpus's ears. His last question to you was, what type of refraction are you invoking? You haven't answered yet.
There is no refraction in this situation we're just talking about, of any sort. I mean, it's quite simple. If you
just-
knew
you
Snell's law,
invoked
which
it.
obviously QE doesn't because he's a moron,
You
he would realise that there is no
invoked
refraction. But because
refraction
he's ignorant of
2
science,
minutes
No,
ago.
he's not going to let you reply. He's just going to roll on about 25 ad homs. Can you let him reply, Rumpus? Is there any chance of that?
do what? Sorry.
Said no refraction. Then he attempted to reply, but you wouldn't allow him, coward.
And show us this Umbra and penumbra. I want to see the penumbra. I want to see a photo in Discord right now. I'm headed there right now. I want to see a photo of the penumbra.
Just get any picture of a shadow.
Just any picture of a
But-
shadow. Really?
I
Do
tell
you
you what,
know
I
how
tell you
your own fairy tale heliocentric spinning ball space monkey religioners
You're a moron.
invoke a penumbra?
Get your finger out. Put
They
your finger
use
in the sun.
divergent
Just do it
rays.
yourself.
Are we getting
Get your
divergent
finger out
rays
in
from
the
the sun?
sunshine and get it
Or
against a nice
convergent
white
rays of the
background,
sun?
and you will see an umbra and a penumbra. If you do not
Yeah,
understand
show it.
that the existence of penumbra
Show
and umbra, I mean, you don't understand. You're
Show it.
worse
I
than
mean,
a
you're a
child. I
moron.
mean,
Show
you've got the knowledge of the real world of
Nathan.
a
Show
7-year-old.
it.
It seems to me.
Nathan, I got it.
Right.
in
So you want a
Master
picture of a
V. Please
penumbra?
go
Okay.
there.
You want a photograph
Show
of a
it.
penumbra? Okay. I'll see. Okay. I'll see if I can find one. I mean, this is just
what
amazing.
you
I mean,
for.
this is just, you're a moron. That's what this is just.
You are an utter science denying
Yeah,
moron.
you're a moron.
Everything you
Show
say
it.
about science is wrong. The fact you've invented
Show it.
natural law as a term is
I
just
forgot more science
extraordinary.
yesterday than
Guys,
you ever know in your
hello, guys,
entire
both
life,
you.
you
Hello,
fucktard.
hello. Okay, 10th. Which picture do you want me to put up?
Well, go to the one that's. Well, let's wait for Rumpus first. Yeah, let's wait for Rumpus first.
Okay, well, I'm having to do
So
a bit
you
of
can go there
research now.
first.
So I'm having to, well, if you've got one ready, that's
No. I want to see yours.
okay. Well, I want a photograph of. Okay, well, I'm having a look. You have to wait, I'm afraid.
Okay, you have a look, Nathan.
Hey,
You
we're-
can show the modern science bogus theories about light rays. You can show that one that's got 4 suns and 4 Earths.
So what do you want a photograph of, QE? Do you want a photograph of a hand, for instance, or do you actually want
Penumbra.
a photograph of a? Sorry.
And then the cause of the penumbra. Do you see in Discord right now, in live stream, do you see how the penumbra's caused? By convergent rays. Is there convergent rays in the sun?
Can you not see from the diagram how those are created? You're a moron. Can you not see the
I
simple
can see
geometry
it. I'm
there?
looking at it right now.
Right, so pick up. Right, so if we're looking at the bottom picture, which is the one I'm gonna, hopefully, which is the one with the black background and the blue and what's its sun. Right,
Yeah.
you should be able to see if you draw if you take the extremes of the sun and then you draw lines, you will see that the areas of the penumbra can see some of the sun, and the areas in the umbra there are
What?
no
That
parts
doesn't,
of the
that's
sun you can
that's
draw
the
a
red
direct
herring
line
to my
to.
point. Look at the convergent rays from the sun.
It's not convergent; they're all straight lines. This is just
Hey,
the
Nathan, he
intersection.
says these are not convergent.
You are
Hold on a
moron.
second,
I
man.
mean,
Hold
you
on,
just
sorry,
can't
guys,
masturbate.
hold on. Can you not
Right.
launch into the ad
Can I
homs?
tell you
Just
what,
hold
can
on.
I share
I'm
my
just trying to
screen?
gain clarity,
Can I
Rumpus.
share my
Please,
screen, Nathan?
hello,
We'll go
please,
through this.
please, hello.
Can I share my screen, Nathan?
If you've shared
And I'll
it
draw a
in,
diagram for him.
sure you can, but I just want to gain clarity from both of you because I'm a bit confused. You're saying that what we need to look at is penumbra and umbra, and the description of penumbra and umbra has got convergent light as the description for the cause, but you're saying the light is running parallel as the description on
No.
screen shows.
I would. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen. You've made it illegal. You've got a no entry sign on sharing screen, so I can't share the diagram.
Post the image live stream and we'll get it put up on screen.
Well, okay, but I was going to do things like point at various bits, and then I need to be able to sort of draw and point and things. to
You're dead with
demonstrate
just this,
how you're
just
getting
this
convinced.
photo. So put
Sorry,
this
it
one
just-
up
I
with
mean,
the
you-
master
Okay,
being ball
sorry guys,
busters.
can you
But
not
it
interrupt
shows
each other?
any
Hello,
number
let's
of
gain
people
control again. Hold on, I'm sorry,
rays.
Rumpus. Let's just gain control. Don't talk over each other. I just want clarity. Are the lights from the sun, or is the light from the sun converging to cause umbra and penumbra, or not?
The light from the sun goes out in all directions. So at any single point, they've only drawn two, from any point, they've only drawn 2 lines. Imagine it's a star of radiating light in all directions from that surface. So all light from the sun is diverging. But when we're
It is
talking about
not.
the intersection,
Any light
listen, moron.
93
Listen,
million
moron.
miles
So,
away from
listen,
an
moron.
object
You
that
I know you've
hits
got to
the Earth
interrupt me because you
must
don't
be
like the
by
answer. You don't like
definition
reality.
coming in parallel, you numpty dipshit. You don't even know geometry, for fuck's
The
sake.
area of the penumbra is the area of behind the
Shut
shadow
up,
where there is
shut up.
no
Post
point
this
on the
photo
sun.
up, Nathan,
If you
or the
assume that light
diagram,
travels
they're
in
done.
straight lines,
Hold on.
if you assume the light travels in straight lines, the areas of the penumbra can at least intersect.
The air is the
Half
penumbra.
Guys, guys,
Not the
hold
sun.
on. Can I just hear the end of his statement, please?
Right,
Try
so
once more,
if
Rumpus.
you look at the penumbra, you can draw a straight line from any area in that penumbra area. You can draw a straight line from it to some part of the sun. In the umbra, you cannot draw a straight line from any part in the umbra without going through the earth. Therefore, that's in complete shadow, and the penumbra is in partial shadow because some parts of the sun light rays can reach the penumbra. You don't have to get worried about converging and diverging. All you need to do to ask yourself is, can a straight line go from the area of the penumbra
That's
to
not the
some
question.
part of the sun?
That's not the
And this
question, you
moron
numpty dipshit.
doesn't
Guys,
understand
I
basic
just want to
geometry.
get clarity, please. Thank you, Rumpus.
Is that not
So-
clear enough what I just said?
It is
that not
clear,
clear what I
but
said?
it's clear, but I'm still a bit unclear because you're saying it's to be considered as running parallel, correct?
Well, no, I said the angular size is 1.5, but because you can take the center of any shadow and you can see where it
Yes
goes,
or
what
no?
the angle, you can,
Yes or no?
Hold on. Oh, can you see? And basically, you can see where the center of the shadow is. Basically,
I heard all
so
that.
If you work to the
I
center,
heard.
well, okay. So if you understand the center of the shadow, then you should
No,
realize
I've
what
asked
your
the question
question's
about what I
irrelevant.
don't, and you're not giving me clarity. So you've said it's to be considered
what?
parallel. Is that a no? It's not to be considered coming in parallel.
You don't need to worry about the parallelism because you work to the.
Well, I do, because the penumbra and umbra are described as having convergent light. So I do. That's why I'm asking.
No, they're not. No, it's a stupid point. That's a stupid thing to say.
So you're saying the descriptions of penumbra and umbra aren't describing convergent light from the sun?
There's no the light from the sun goes out in all directions from every
I
point.
heard this.
It's
That's the third
divergent.
time I've heard.
Right. So to then call about convergent, no, the light doesn't converge. No, the description of the penumbra you've got is wrong.
Okay, it's on screen for the
Then you
audience
better get
now.
with NASA
Hold on.
and Harvard.
Hold on. On
Because
screen.
they're saying it is.
It's on screen for the audience now.
Umbra.
Hello. It's on screen for the audience now. It is showing light from the sun with penumbra and umbra caused by converging lines. Now that's as far as I can ascertain. Why are you interrupting me? I'm just gaining clarity. Why am I being interrupted?
Okay,
I'm not even part of this.
Okay.
Why are you interrupting me?
Okay.
So, you've just said no, nothing to do with convergence, right? Here's the depiction from the heliocentric model from the bullshit world of fantasy sphere, and it's got convergent lines on it. Now you're saying no, that's not the case. And you're also saying lines to be considered parallel. So, which is it?
Those two lines are convergent, but that doesn't mean to say that the light rays from the sun are convergent. So,
Okay, well, if they're not convergent, then we have the depiction that's third down, and it doesn't create penumbra and umbra.
which picture you're referring to? I'm looking at the Discord thing. The last picture posted by Quantum Arrays. Is that the one you're
You
looking
don't
at?
need a picture. You can understand and accept that I've described the contradiction. You've said they're to be considered parallel, and I've said, okay, if they're to be considered parallel as depicted for my audience, then we don't get umbra and penumbra. Now, when I've asked you if we have convergent lines, you've said, no, we're not to consider them in that fashion. Well, if we don't, they don't produce penumbra and umbra.
The light rays from the sun are not parallel. That's why you get penumbra and umbra.
So when they're described as being parallel and a 93 million miles away sun could only give you parallel lines, you're saying they're not parallel.
Correct. They are not parallel.
So why does the heliocentric model describe them as being parallel? And why would we have Aristophanes with his parallel lines coming in from the sun when you're saying they're not parallel?
Because you can take the center of the shadow and regard that as your parallel. So you can ignore all the umbra non-parallelism crap. Because
And what about the stuff that's not central? And it's the stuff...
Can make shit up.
I missed the first word. I missed your first start.
It's the stuff that's not central.
Drugs.
Oh.
You know how many globe arguments you
The
just
way it
debunked?
works is for the Aristophanes experiment, you consider the center of the shadow, so you don't have to worry about the non-parallelism of the
center of the
light from
shadow
the sun.
for what?
From your angle.
What angle?
If they're all parallel,
Well, the
what are you
angle
talking
that's
about? What
measured.
angle?
Well, there are several angles. There's the horizontal angle, and then there's the
The
angle.
horizontal angle of what?
The angle from the top. The angle that's described in the diagram
top of
that was
what?
given by whoever, 10th man. He was showing you angles. It's using the angle to then determine the fraction of the Earth you've got, and from that you can then work out the radius. It's really simple.
No,
Well, you don't understand the
What are
basic
you
maths,
talking
do
about?
you?
No,
Don't
we're
understand
not
any
talking
part
about the
of this, do
radius
you,
just
QE?
yet. We'll
You
get to your-
understand
that
nothing
with
about the
your
geometry we're
extreme,
talking about,
very
do you?
extreme refraction. We're talking about the penumbra, sir.
We don't need to
Kiwi,
worry
I
about the
could
penumbra
tell
because
you,
we're
I
going
could
with
tell
the
you what
center
he's
of the
talking
shadow.
about here.
Sorry,
He's
Don't worry about it. We're on the penumbra.
Guys.
So hold on.
No,
One at a
that's what
time.
Is the discussion about Aristophanes or is it about penumbra and umbra? Because he could ignore the penumbra
Penumbra,
umbra
you
issue with
dumbass.
Aristophanes.
The penumbra and
So hold on.
umbra
Is the
is
discussion
created.
now
It's the
about the
penumbra.
Aristophanes?
Hold on, let's get us back on
validity, or
track.
is it
Hello,
about
everyone, shut
penumbra
up a
and umbra?
second. Sorry, everyone, shut up. The penumbra and umbra is created by convergent light. Is that what we have with a 93 million mile sun?
The light goes out in all directions. It's left because the the Earth is in the way. Then the only light that can get to the penumbra, you could talk about it being. It's not really convergent. It's just lights going out in all.
So then we don't have umbra and penumbra then, because that's what creates umbra and penumbra.
The umbra and the penumbra is created by not being able to go to all points on the sun. I mean, just do it for yourself. Just try drawing lines
The
from the
penumbra is
penumbra.
caused by not points having to go all the way to the sun. That is an incoherent gibberish.
What is? I missed the start of your sentence.
Saying
What
that all
you just
points going to
said.
the sun creates penumbra and umbra. No, it's not. According to every diagram I've ever seen of penumbra and umbra, it's created by convergent light from the sun.
Is that the definition of penumbra is where only some of the light of the sun can reach, and in the umbra, no part of a straight line from the sun can be drawn to it without intersecting the Earth.
No straight line.
It's really simple.
So we don't have parallel
The light
lines to
rays
the
are
sun.
straight.
So we don't
The
have
light
parallel
rays
lines to the sun. So when you said we
correct.
could consider them parallel, what did you mean if you're saying none of them are parallel now?
As far as you see the shadow we've got there in the umbra, we do not need to worry about the penumbra and the lack of parallelism to determine where that umbra is and the angles associated with it.
But you're telling us we do need to worry about it to prove that this is what you're claiming. So we don't need to worry about it after all.
Which
So
claim
why bring it up? Why bring up umbra and penumbra at all then?
I missed the start of that sentence again.
So why bring it up?
Why bring up what?
Penumbra and umbra.
Well, you brought it up. I didn't. I thought it was irrelevant. I was telling you
No,
you
you
brought
brought
it
it
up.
up.
Yeah, you brought it up. You came in and challenged us based on what was happening with Aristophanes. Parallel lines. Parallel lines being used, and we juxtapose that with the convergent light that's being used in penumbra and umbra. And you're saying don't worry about penumbra and umbra when it comes to the parallel lines.
It's
and we're saying,
irrelevant.
well, why bring it up then?
Yeah. You brought it up. I was dismissing it as rubbish.
Are you going to go around in the same
It's
circle
relevant
again?
now.
Twice in the
Let's
same
try it
circle?
again.
Okay, so are they parallel?
Was saying,
You've told us they're to be considered parallel.
Man was
Are they?
claiming that the light rays were parallel or not, and I'm pointing out it doesn't matter.
I wasn't
The parallelism
claiming
of the light rays does not affect the validity of the
claiming that.
Aristophanes
Your model
experiment.
claims that. Be quiet for a minute.
Sorry?
I wasn't claiming that. That's your model claims that.
Size of these
light
things.
comes in parallel.
Hold on, let me make his point.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Go ahead.
You were claiming
Oh,
the model was claiming that. Yeah.
Yeah, the model's claiming
Nathan,
parallel.
There's a slide I put up there that shows 4 suns and 4 Earths, and it shows all the different things that Rumpus is now trying to rumpus us on. Can you go to that one?
These last 2
Master
pictures
D.
didn't work. They've not worked.
Which
Okay,
diagram are
I'm
you
going to
referring
send it to you
Tenth Man?
anew. I'll just send it afresh.
Okay,
Just look for it. I'll be there in a second.
no worries.
You're going to post it. You're going to post this in.
We'll figure out the admin. Yes, indeed. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. I think there was more cabbage. So let's have a quick look. Yes, indeed there was. Cabbage is not just sending money. Apparently, it's also the filler between Rumpus's ears. I think I had that one. We've also got Happy Cabbage Day from... Who was that from? Slipped off page. Guru. I've said that correctly. Thank you very much indeed for hitting the super chat. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. Also, below this video, there is a link to get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either programming stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Picture, yes. Normally you
see
can
the
look
four-
at the angles.
Okay.
Yep, it's in there.
All right, thank you.
I could draw. Okay, I tell you what. I can draw. I do have it to scale. Actually, I
No,
can show
Rumpus,
you to scale
Rumpus, stop. Stop,
the
Rumpus.
sun and the moon.
Rumpus, stop,
Yes, 10th.
please. I have an
Because
image.
yeah, the
for you to
relative
look at.
sizes determine where the penumbra and umbra would start and end.
Yeah, but it's difficult to draw a diagram with the relative sizes because the moon is
I
so
have
much
a
smaller than the
diagram.
sun.
I have a diagram.
Not with the
if could be
you won't have
quiet
you
for a
won't have the
moment,
scale
please.
correct though. He's asking for something with the correct scale. I do have a picture if he wants to look at it. Where is your picture?
Excuse me,
10th
Rumpus,
man?
can you hear me?
I can. Where is
They're
your
not
picture?
listening to you, 10th man.
Forget it. I'm done with
I'll
this
put
guy.
it in. I'll put it in Discord for you, Rumpus.
Yeah. Well, if I need
There
to be able to look at
comes.
it.
Oh. Why isn't it doing it?
Is it?
Copy. Paste.
The image that's being sent to him, the one with
there it is.
the
There it is. That's his diagram, Rumpus.
convergent rays, right?
Okay, I can see that. Okay.
You got
Well,
four
you
examples
could
here,
just
Rumpus.
pick.
Give us
You could
a
just pick
breakdown of
a
each
couple of
one,
rays and
please.
say they're
I'm talking,
convergent,
Rumpus.
but the rays from the sun go out in all directions.
So we could pick a couple of rays and call them convergent. Aren't we to consider them parallel, as you told us earlier then?
The rays from the sun from any particular point go out in all directions and divergent.
Yeah, you start with that every time. But we've got a contradiction on our hands. If they're to be considered parallel, then they can't be considered convergent.
Light that reaches us, right? The light that reaches us. For instance, let's look at the light that reaches the Earth comes in from all sorts of angles.
Yeah, you lead with that for the 5th time. Yeah, we've got a contradiction. You're saying consider them all parallel. Yeah, they come in from all directions. That's fascinating. But we're being told by you to consider them parallel. But in the depiction of penumbra and umbra, they're convergent, and now you've told us the opposite, which is to consider them as converging. So you've got two positions. It seems you're in cognitive dissonance, Rumpus.
Depending on which light rays you pick,
Oh, I see. So it depends on the circumstances which light rays we pick. So we're not to consider them all parallel. It depends.
You can pick on any light ray you want from the sun, and then you can decide what angle they're. But the maximum divergence you can...
So it doesn't matter what it's actually doing. We just decide based on the example. So it's down to your decision on what that light ray will do.
0.5.
It's down to your decision, is it?
Degrees.
This is down to your decision. The will of you decides the light ray and what it does, correct? Your will.
No, it's not down.
You just told me you decide it. Just told me you decide.
No, it's reality's decision.
You just made the decision for reality. So you decide. You told us you decide.
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, no. You've got a contradiction when you decide, because you're telling us to consider them all parallel, but also consider them diverging and converging in your diagram, and diverging in reality.
This This has got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. You could put a flat Earth here and you would still be having these issues. You're not understanding about these rays. So any flaw you're coming up with here with this model would affect the flat Earth just as much.
We don't have a model of this. We don't make any claims about this, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, well, that's because you don't,
Sorry, you stuttering, mumbling fuckwit. We don't make any claims for you to hold up a straw man against this. This is only your problem. So you're admitting it's a problem, but saying it would also be a problem for us if we had a model. We don't. So it's just your problem.
If you believe this to be
your problem, because we don't hold up a straw man model. This is definitely a problem, but it's only your problem with the heliocentric model.
Believe this issue was a problem.
Did we all catch that? Rumpus admitted it was a problem, but said it would equally be a problem for us.
I caught it.
I said the statement.
I don't have a problem with it in my model because I don't presuppose they're actually.
If there was a problem, there's definitely a problem. There's 4 examples on screen, and they can't all be true at the same time. We can't consider it all being parallel and it creating Umbra and penumbra. Those two things can't be held simultaneously. And you're saying I will decide and be the arbiter of what they'll be doing when I make my example. I point out that you're deciding and you obfuscated and said nature decides. Well, nature can't simultaneously make it convergent and parallel. That's a contradiction that you haven't addressed. Now, when we pointed it out, you've said, well, if this is a problem now, yeah, it's definitely a problem because it's a contradiction, then it's also a problem in your model as well. No, it's just your problem in your model.
As well. So there's no problem, but any problem you
No problem. We've got 2 different examples. One with parallel that doesn't create penumbra and umbra. Can you not even acknowledge that you've got a problem, you fucking coward?
There is no problem here, you...
Oh, you can't acknowledge that you've got a problem. It's on screen. Any audience member that pays the slightest bit of attention to Rumpus, know this. He's a liar. He's got this example. He's looking at it. You can't have Umbra and penumbra if you've got parallel light rays. That is not possible. And he's saying it's not a problem. You're in denial, you fundy fuckwit.
Arrives at the Earth. The fact that I'm having to explain this to you, and QE as well, means you have the less understanding of geometry than a 7-year-old.
You couldn't educate or explain hearing to the bionic woman
you're just a moron beyond...
Just stutter and ad hom through him, why don't you? Yeah, this is very much a contradiction. It's on screen for my audience. Now, my audience, if they can fog a mirror, shout out to Quantum Eraser, can recognise that you can't have Umbra and penumbra with parallel lines.
Different rays. If you pick different rays, you can get different...
Pick different rays? So you're the arbiter of whether or not they're parallel or convergent?
Anybody can pick these realities.
Oh, I see. So it's down to you to pick which one will be applied. I thought nature decided.
Let's say the third
I thought nature decided.
10th man.
Does nature not decide anymore? Does
Let's
nature not decide? Maybe talk through me constantly.
Of 10th man.
You fucking coward. Yeah, audience, you know what's happening here. The Flat Earth has won again against Rumpus. And all he can do is ignore everything that's put to him. What a coward. Yeah, he knows he's absolutely been cooked.
But he picked in the first diagram.
Yeah, you're going to pick. A minute ago, nature decided, though, didn't it?
Not me.
You're not going to listen? A moment ago, nature decided, and now you're saying anybody can pick?
He did the picking, not me in this diagram.
No, there's no picking. There's just 2 different...
Depending on which argument you're having.
Yeah, it depends which argument, yeah. If you're going to argue that you're going to be doing parallel required lines, then...
Depending on which rays you pick.
Yeah, so it's not nature that picks them then, as you declared earlier then.
The third diagram in this set, he's picked rays that converge. In the second one, he's picked some that slightly converge. In the third one, he's picked some parallel rays. And in the fourth one, he's picked divergent.
At the current time,
but anybody can pick anyone.
Whether it's
they
convergent,
all
divergent,
exist simultaneously.
I see. So both parallel and convergent at the same time. That's a contradiction in terms.
No, the individual rays...
Sorry, I'll say it again, just in case the audience missed it, and I'll make it absolutely explicitly clear, because Rumpus is thick and in cognitive dissonance and holding 2 positions simultaneously. You cannot both be parallel and convergent at the same time. That is a contradiction in terms. A married bachelor, you are stupid, you are ignorant, you are thick.
Different rays, you moron.
What, depends on which one I pick? So if I'm going to decide we're having Umbra and penumbra as a result of the heliocentric model this week, then I'll describe them as being convergent. Whereas if I'm deciding that I'm going to describe how Eratosthenes does his quasi-experiment, they're going to be parallel. It's up to me to decide, is it?
Part of the diagram has picked non-parallel lines.
You don't pick what light does. It's not up to you. You can pick what it does in your model, depending on the circumstances that befall you. But in reality, light just does what light does. It's not up to you to decide whether or not it's converging, parallel, or in reality, yeah, diverging. That's what we actually have. None of your examples in the heliocentric model work. You don't have converging light ever. Look at it. It's diverging.
Ones in the diagram have been picked.
The diagram's not this picture on screen. And this picture on screen of what a sun actually does in reality pisses in the face of your claim.
Rays. Do you understand that, 10th man?
Do you understand that sun, when you actually look at it, has got divergent rays?
You can pick any rays.
Do you understand that the sun has got divergent rays when you look at it?
Well, all the light from all...
How my balls taste, you fuckwit globe-believing fundy. Yet your explanation that requires them to converge and requires them to be parallel ignores reality.
Sun.
Hello? Do you not understand that if you look at the sun, they're divergent?
Emit light in all directions.
Yeah, so not parallel, not convergent, divergent then.
All directions.
Divergent.
This diagram, you can pick divergent.
Not diagram, I've got a picture of the real sun on screen. And they're not converging, they're not parallel, they're diverging.
Points you pick.
You're a reality denier. You're a reality denier. Are you a reality denier?
You pick.
I pick? No, it's on screen. Hey, audience, you can pick whether or not these lines are parallel or convergent. You can pick, because Rumpus said so.
Are you showing the map? Are you showing 10th rank?
I'm showing reality. This is a real sun, a picture of it. And they're diverging.
Are you showing 10th?
Are you a reality denier? These aren't parallel and they're certainly not converging. They're diverging. Are you a reality denier?
Are you showing 10th?
Are you a reality denier? I'm showing the sun.
Are you showing the 10th?
The sun. Reality. Reality.
Are you showing that?
The sun, reality. Divergent lines. Yeah? You need them to converge or be parallel.
Show some consideration to the viewers and me.
Suck my balls. Reality says you're wrong. Are you a reality denier? The light from the sun in reality is not converging or parallel.
To the admin here so I can talk about this. Do you
talk about what? I've got a picture of reality on screen. It doesn't do what you say.
Diagram. Right, so are you showing 10th man diagram?
I'm showing the sun, a real picture of the real world. And they're not parallel, they're not convergent.
10th man diagram up,
Oh, we want diagrams. You scared of reality?
Let's put up 10th.
Scared of reality?
Show you how.
You scared of reality? You need your diagrams. I've got a real picture of a real sun. You scared of reality?
The light rays coming off in all directions, does it?
They're convergent, are they?
So we need 10th man's.
Sorry, are they convergent? There's real sun rays. I've got a picture of reality. Rumpus is scared to answer a question about the real sun.
Can we all discuss the same thing, please?
Yeah, the real sun. We're talking about the sun and what it does. I've got a real picture of a real sun.
10th man diagram.
No, not diagram. Real picture of a real sun.
Yeah, but this will.
Why is that making you stutter? You scared of reality? You scared of reality? Scared to look at the real sun because it hasn't got convergent lines?
Nathan,
Rumpus?
10th man's
convergent,
diagram.
right?
This is 10th man's diagram.
No, it's a picture of a real sun. And we don't have convergent rays from it.
What else? I've dealt with this.
You seem to be scared of reality.
I'd want to talk to 10th man. At least he seems to be.
You're scared of me then? You scared of me talking about reality?
10th man.
No, Nathan, he's put a real picture of a sun on. Quick, get the diagram, get 10th man, get anything but the convergent lines that this sun's showing us.
Do you want to talk about this diagram, 10th?
No, I want to talk about the fact that the sun hasn't got convergent light coming from it in this picture.
It's got light going in all directions.
And are they converging to cause penumbra and umbra?
There are light rays coming from...
Are they converging in reality?
No.
So we can't have your example of penumbra and umbra with convergent light then? No matter how much you tell the audience, they can just consider them to be convergent because this picture of reality pisses in the face of that now, doesn't it? No, Rumpus, they're not convergent.
You're impervious to logic.
No, you've told me no, not converging.
Come on, let's discuss your diagram.
Let's discuss reality. We haven't got convergent lines to create penumbra and umbra in reality.
let's discuss. Come on,
Reality, yeah, the picture I've just absolutely teabagged you with. And it's just a picture of a sun.
Seems incapable of understanding some simple.
Understanding that we haven't got convergent lines, and you've said no when I asked you if they were converging. No, was the response. I heard it loud and clear. So your example for penumbra and umbra, which requires convergent light rays, is not what we see.
Oh, they are exactly what we see.
No. You think the picture on screen's got convergent sun rays? He's a reality denier, ladies and gentlemen. I put a picture of a sun, and he tells me that he can see convergent lines. Are you blind? Are you thick? Are you stupid? Or are you just a ball-believing zealot?
10th man's diagram, Matt.
Not 10th man's diagram. It's a picture of the sun.
10th man's diagram, which Matt.
No, a picture of reality.
You're not actually in as usual. Your idea.
10th man's not coming to save you. Reality's defeating
He's been
you.
looking to diagrams for too long. He can't handle the real sun anymore. It burns
Yeah, he
the
can't
sun.
handle the real picture of a sun because it hasn't got convergent light rays. Certainly hasn't got parallel light rays.
And you need to explain with light rays.
Light rays that are converging in this picture of reality, right?
Good, and the ones that reach the surface of the Earth, if you're talking about a solar eclipse, there are some light rays that come from the edge of the sun, which form the penumbra, and there are some that are obscured, which cannot be come to the surface of the Earth. That's in the Umbra, and
that would be a convergent light.
Sun.
That would be them converging.
It depends. It depends which 2 points.
No, the description's got them absolutely in your description. I'll put it on screen for the audience. Rumpus has decided that in this scenario, it's scenario number 2. And they're going to be creating penumbra and umbra because they are converging, correct?
Which dark?
Yeah, I'll just tell you because you're thick and can't keep up. Yeah, the description you've just given would have convergent light rays. That is precisely what you just described. Selection number 2, Rumpus. That's what you've just described. However, in reality, light from the sun does not converge. We got a very clear no from you with a picture of the real sun on screen.
Right. So I'm looking at the
Right, so your description of convergent light with penumbra and umbra isn't what we see in reality.
Which diagram are you looking at, Nathan? Which
A real picture of the sun pisses in the face of your selecting arbitrarily that this is how you're going to describe how light works. Because in reality, when we actually look at the sun, light doesn't work that way.
It totally agrees with that.
Oh, does it now? So my picture of the sun has got light converging, has it?
That's why we can predict the size of the shadow.
Sorry, my picture of the sun in reality has got light converging, has it? No, it hasn't, mate.
There are light sources from the sun that are coming together.
No, there's not. Are you a reality denier?
No, I'm not. You're the one.
You stuttering fundy fuck. No, mate, I've got a picture of the sun on screen, and it absolutely doesn't have any light rays coming together. You're a reality denier.
It does. How
No,
do you think
it does.
the edges of the sunlight?
It does.
Listen to this, Nathan. Try listening for once. Imagine the light rays from the edge of the sun.
I've got them on screen. None of them are coming together.
They are.
No, they're not. You're a reality denier. It's on screen for the audience. If you're a globe-believing fundy, you agree with Rumpus, and are going to tell yourself that this picture on screen has got light coming together. No, reality denier, it hasn't.
I know you want to suppress the argument, and I'm...
Suppress the argument that the light rays on the picture on screen are coming together? No, they're not.
I know you want to suppress...
It's visually obvious that they're not coming together, Rumpus.
I know you want to...
It's not suppressing the argument. Your argument is that the light rays are coming together, and they are not. That is visually obvious for everyone looking at my screen right now.
Censor me, Nathan. I know you want to...
Censor you? No, you've told me that the picture of a sun in reality is light rays coming together. And for my audience, it's visually obvious that's not the case. You're a reality denier.
Nathan, I know even you'll be able to understand this explanation. So say a light ray from the left-hand side of the sun and a light ray from the right-hand side of the sun. The mere fact that those two light rays end up at your eyes means they are converging.
They're not. I've just put a pointer on one on the left and one on the right, and they're not converging. You're a reality denier.
Moron. They are.
Sorry, moron. If you agree with audience, if you are a member of the audience and you agree with Rumpus, then feel free to type into my comment section that you agree and that what I am seeing on screen, as described by Rumpus, has the light on the left converging with the light on the right, because it isn't.
That's incredible. It is. It has to be to get to your...
It is. No, it's visually obvious for anybody who's not blind that is visually obviously not the case.
Everybody, I suspect that most of the other people on the panel understand what I've said, and they'll be thinking...
Sorry, you've said that the light coming from the left, a ray from the left, is converging with one from the right when it's clearly diverging. That's visually obvious for anybody who's not blind or being lied to by you.
They're beginning to laugh at you. I think even...
Laugh at me? What, as they look at a picture of divergent light rays and are being told by a fundy with a ball belief that they're converging?
Even QE...
QA? Yeah, that's because you're trying to lie and getting confused and mixing up letters because you're very confused with your lie. No, for anybody who's not blind, the light from this sun is not converging, and he needs it to converge to give him his description of penumbra and umbra, and it simply isn't the case in reality. And when faced with reality, he will literally tell you that what you see isn't what you see.
Thinking, Nathan, I can understand this. Why can't you?
Understand that they're converging when they're clearly diverging.
You're being rather silly.
Silly when saying to my audience that clearly this picture has divergent sun rays, but Rumpus is telling you that I'm silly for saying that. No, they're clearly diverging.
The mere fact that you can see both edges of the sun means that...
Diverging light rays coming out of it. Yeah, what about those diverging light rays coming out of the sun?
They're all going out from all angles. From the
Which ones? The ones that are diverging?
The fact that you can see the two edges means...
I can see them diverging. Now tell me that they're converging.
And they are converging to...
No, they're not. They're clearly diverging.
No, they're coming together to get you...
No, they're not. They're moving apart. That's clearly obvious to anybody who's not blind.
Nathan, draw a straight line from your eyes...
Okay, I'll do it. I'll draw a straight line from here to here, and it's... diverging. They're meeting at the sun. They're moving apart from the sun. Yeah, they're diverging. They're coming away from each other. So they're meeting at the sun.
I don't know what you're drawing.
It's not drawing, it's reality. You're just a reality denier because your description of penumbra and umbra has got the rays from the sun converging to create penumbra and umbra. But yet when we look at reality, the sun, a picture of the sun, that's not what the light rays do.
They could be thinking a little 7-year-old could understand this, and the fact you can't, I'm afraid, just puts you in the...
it's nothing to understand. It's visually obvious.
Your IQ's about 100, probably.
Sorry, there's nothing to understand. It's visually obvious. Nothing to comprehend. It's a picture of the sun with its light doing what it does. There's nothing to comprehend. It's visually obvious.
Did you understand what I was saying? Did you understand, 10th man? Did you understand what I was saying?
Sorry, you're going to appeal to 10th man to save you from me again?
Well, apparently you're
scared of me, Rumpus. I know. The audience has also picked up on it, that it's no longer the case that I'm slightly intimidated by you and your constant filibustering. No, it's now the case that you're scared of me and need to appeal to 10th man to save you from reality. That would be a picture of the sun with its divergent rays.
So, for instance, I'm sure Righteous is intelligent enough to understand.
You're going to appeal to Righteous to save you from me now? Wow, how pathetic. The tables really have turned, haven't they?
Just said. Who else would that? George.
Man, you must be like a 7-year-old to have to try and appeal to other panel members to try and save you from me. You're like a 7-year-old, a scared toddler.
To the people on this panel.
You scared toddler. Maybe address reality and the fact that the sun doesn't have convergent light coming from it. That's visually obvious to anybody not blind or being lied to by you.
So that's what we'll go with. I think we'll go with 90% of the panel understand what I'm saying, and the 10 and you and the other percent don't.
What you're saying, Rumpus, is that the sextant could only work on a flat plane. That's what you're saying. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Not at all. No.
Yes. Your identification of lights.
So 10th man, did you understand what I said about how? Did you understand what I said about the fact that you can see two edges of the sun means that those light rays cannot be parallel and coming together at your eyes, therefore they're converging? Did you understand that?
Sorry, they can't be parallel. So they can't be parallel.
Nathan.
They can't be parallel.
Stop interrupting his...
No, sorry, I'm just clarifying, not interrupting. Can't be parallel, correct?
10th man, did you understand?
Sorry, earlier in the show you told us they were to be considered parallel, and now you explicitly stated that they can't be parallel.
Let 10th man speak.
You can suck on my balls. I'll trim it out and repeat it 1,000 times for you, so you can suffer my nuts on your face, because you've been shot in the face, metaphorically, in a video game. That's all this is, because you're a nameless troll. You've been shot in the face, now you're lying, dying, with me teabagging you. They are not parallel, according to you.
You're scared of your own panel.
You just told me they are not parallel.
Because they're going to demonstrate that you don't understand and they do.
I understand what you've just told me. Not parallel.
You're not going to let him answer. You're not going to let him answer.
I heard what you stated. You said that the light are not parallel. Not parallel, right?
Are you going to let him answer?
Not parallel, right? You need 10th man to save you, right? Yeah? Coward? Yeah, I'd be scared of me too, because I'm absolutely ferocious. And I've just repeated what you've said. That's all I've done. So the light from the sun is not parallel.
So 10th man.
10th man, save me from Nathan. Yeah, not parallel, right? That's what you said. I'm just repeating back, and now you're scared of your own words.
Speak. Let 10th man speak.
No, I'm speaking. So not parallel. All I'm doing is repeating your own words back, and you seem to be scared of your own words.
You're scared.
You're stuttering like a bitch that's being teabagged by a flat earther. Know it. So not parallel.
Right, Nathan. Be quiet, Nathan. Let 10th.
Oh, you tell me to be quiet. You are only having your own words repeated back to you, and you need me to be quiet.
10th man speak, Nathan. Let 10th man.
He's not going to save you.
So 10th man.
So not parallel.
10th man. Do you,
so not
do you
parallel.
Understand
so not parallel. You've just stated they're not parallel. Earlier in the show, you said they were to be considered parallel, and now you've explicitly said that they are not parallel.
But in actual fact,
that seems to make you stutter, doesn't it? Yes, stutter for me. The tables really have turned, Rumpus. I am absolutely in control of this scenario now. You are not. Because you're a double-speaking, contradiction-laden Fundy. That's all you are. You've got a contradiction. You said the light was to be considered parallel at the start of this discourse. And at the end, you're telling us it is not parallel.
Speak. Are you going to let 10th man speak?
I'm talking to you. The one with the contradiction, light rays from the sun to be considered parallel, and simultaneously you've just told us moments earlier, and are scared to hear it repeated back, that they are not parallel.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. They're not parallel.
So the light from the sun is not parallel.
Correct.
Excellent. I will take that as the win I need. Considering the heliocentric model describes the light from the sun as being parallel, but when it comes to Umbra and penumbra, it needs to converge. But yet when we see a picture of the sun in reality, it's divergent. So we've got a massive problem. The same problem that Rumpus entered this little arena to tell us that it was all nonsense. No problem, nothing to be seen here. Right, Rumpus? And yet we've got a big problem, because the light you told us to consider parallel is now being made clear by you as not being parallel, yet the picture that we've got of the actual sun, they're divergent. So this is a massive problem for a heliocentric model with a 93 million mile sun, with a claimed parallel light coming from it, because it needs to converge to create the shadow you claim in your presuppositional orbital path with your Umbra and penumbra. But that doesn't match what we see in reality, and you need to talk down reality so you can deny a picture of the sun for 10 straight minutes. But when we get down to the nitty-gritty, Rumpus has made it clear for all you fundies, the light from the sun is not parallel. Yeah, I could have shown you that with this picture. It definitely isn't converging, though, to create Umbra and penumbra. So with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive, if I clear my throat, thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also below this video is a link to get £50 back for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!